Yo, what up? It's XLovers. We're hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
Congratulations with the new single, and I'm super excited for this upcoming Mad World EP that's about to drop later this year. Let's jump in and talk about the collaborative process of this track.
Man, we made that actually. That's the one song on the project that we made with a few other friends as well. Like usually Jake and I just make 100% of our music together, but that one we rented this cabin like up in this super tiny town in Northern California, and we flew out a few of our friends from Toronto, and I was like, I was going through a kind of rough time, and I would like reach out to friends and they would just always give me advice, and I was like so sick of that. I was like, dude, just like shut up and listen to me. Like just like I just want to vent. And I was just saying that, and we were like, bro, people say, and the song just came like mad quickly.
Yeah, that was definitely the favorite song of that trip. It was nice to be able to get out of town a little bit, and I definitely like to travel as much as possible to make music and just kind of be on the go. I find that it kickstarts the creative process a lot more than just staying in the same place for too long.
It's cool that between the two of you, it's you guys are also producing the stuff yourselves at the same time. Like, what's that balance like when you guys are writing music? Like, do you, Jacob, do you have the artist cap on and the producer cap on at the same time when you guys are writing material, or does that kind of differ between songs or when you guys actually jump into the studio?
Well, artistically, I mean, London and I both have a pretty linear mind in the way that we think about our artistry, but I don't like write any of the stuff. So I'm thinking of of course, what our identity is, like how we want to, like what we want to say, like how we want it to sound. But London does all the songwriting, and the production is like a very collaborative process. I mean, I'm in the computer and stuff, but we've been working together since we were in middle school. So the bond that we've been forming since then is very linked together.
Since you guys have been kind of collaborating together for such a long time, how do you guys see the evolution of each other's work? So London, how do you see Jacob's evolution, and Jacob, how do you see London's evolution?
That's a really good question. I think we've both become more disciplined and more experimental. So like what I mean is like when we were younger, we just did like whatever the wanted, but there was no like direct goal in mind, you know what I mean? And now I think just through working our asses off, come to a place where we can like basically create anything we hear in our heads, which is amazing, and that's like the discipline. But like now at this point, it's almost like part of our job is unlearning what we know and just like kind of getting back to that childlike, just imaginative excitement, and like just doing whatever. But it's cool because like through hard work, we have the tools to like actually make that come to life right now, you know what I mean? So I think that's been the main evolution. But like, dude, it's crazy. I don't know. We've been making music for almost 10 years, since we were in like 5th grade, and it's like so much of it is really similar. Like we've always just done what we wanted to do, and I think we've just gotten better at doing that.
Yeah.
And that's the evolution of just like working over time,
Yeah, and more confident in ourselves to be able to execute it without doubt. I think that's been like the thing that I've noticed in both of us the most, for sure.
Yeah.
With the process of making the Mad World EP, how did you guys kind of challenge yourselves in your own, instrument or your own writing process? Like, what challenged you guys for this EP, especially for these 7 tracks?
Yeah, I think so with our first EP, Virgin, it was like the first time we had a fan base, and I think we were super like focused on that, like to a really negative extent, and like putting everything into like what do they want, not what do we want. And Mad World, the entire challenge was like, let's just create a project that we're obsessed with, you know what I mean? And like I think that was the goal the entire time. So like we just didn't hold ourselves back, and I think we did a lot on the first project. And yeah, I think it was a constant like challenge in the sense of like you have to remind yourself like, yo, it's okay to just do what we want, and I think that was the overarching challenge, but it's also what kept it exciting, like point blank period.
Yeah, I mean, I think like some of the smaller pieces, like the intro, for example, was something that we hadn't really done before, which is kind of just a compilation of how confusing the world is, like media-wise, and just to kind of live in today's world. And so that was really fun to create. We did a lot of the EP's production on the road when we were touring with Chelsea Cutler, and I think that was like a really awesome challenge to be able to just push ourselves to stay productive on the road. And I think in doing so, it kind of like freed up doubt that can happen. Like I was talking about before, being in the studio for so long. So like, you know, jumping from like doing an interview in the morning to like working in the car on the way to the show, and then having the show, you can't really, you don't get in your head as often. So I think that was kind of a key component to like unlocking some creativity on this.
Seems like you guys have this like very do-it-yourself kind of mentality, and I feel like that kind of stems from when you guys first were in that garage band, or you know, pursuing the band back in the day. How difficult or how easy is it to have that mentality now that, you know, one, you have a label behind you, two, you have more ears listening, and three, like the sound is different?
Yeah. I think like often artists' best aspects are their like worst aspects too, and that's how I look at our like DIY mentality. Like it's great because like literally we can wake up and make an entire project in my bedroom. It's frustrating because like we're perfectionists beyond belief, like to an insane extent. So it's like taking a lot of work to like sometimes let go and trust other people to help us with, you know what I mean? Because like if I could, I would do everything. Like every single, I would be our manager, I would be our label, I would be our videographer, I'd be our like everything. And like just realistically, you can't do that. Like it just, there's not enough time in the day. So I think it's like a blessing in the sense of like we're pretty self-sufficient and like literally are super involved in every aspect of it. I think it can be frustrating because like I'm a control freak, but I honestly do think it's more of an asset. Like I even dude, and like in this whole like chapter, like I can't imagine being an artist who doesn't produce your own music. Like that would be so frustrating. Whereas like we're already like making our 30p, like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, I think it's definitely, I mean, we definitely like created this reality for ourselves.
Talk to me about the 7 tracks on here. Not necessarily all of them, but just like, you know, what was it about these 7 tracks that you guys felt like they were appropriate for the Mad World EP?
Like for me, a Mad World isn't, it's all encompassing, right? So there's like really, really beautiful aspects of that. There are really negative and intense aspects. And I think each track like filled a slot in that sense. So like the song Mad World itself, like, I mean, it's literally talking about my anxiety in this crazy ass world. And then like the next single we're dropping called Love is like the most fluffy like love song we've put out by far. It's super simple, super light and easy. And it's because like being two like 22-year-olds, like starting your career, starting your life, like even in the craziest possible world in existence, like there's still really dope and fun moments, you know? So I think like we just wanted to be all encompassing, not just like preaching like this crazy mad world and not just like these love songs. We wanted to be both. And I think each song like filled a part of it in that sense, I guess.
Yeah, well said. Yeah.
For me, one of the songs that kind of stuck out to me was Haunt You. I think it was Haunt You.
I love that.
Thanks.
It had this cool vibe, and correct me if I'm talking about the wrong song, but it had this cool vibe where it kind of gave me this like acoustic, like islandy kind of vibe, but then you still got that pop mentality with those undertones of the electric guitar. And you know, talk to me about the creative process of that track and like what kind of inspired that.
That song is about like, it's about, I find like the most upsetting thought I have is like when somebody dies, you'll never be able to see them again. I mean, depending on what you believe, that's like a really, really hard thought for me. We've both experienced like some pretty intense personal loss in the last year, and it's just like, that song was like a love song for dead people, like saying like, yo, like I want you to come back and haunt me. I'm gonna come back and haunt you. It's like it's upsetting thinking about like never seeing someone again. It's a tough like, and not in like a oh we're breaking up, like literally never seeing somebody again on this planet. I mean that's crazy. That's what inspired the song, and just the production. Like, dude, we just wanted to keep it so simple. Like I think that's like the further we get, that just continues to be our goal. Like, what's the least we can do? Not out of like laziness, out of like let's let this song speak. You know what I mean? And like, so there's like textures in it. There's like these cool little like voice memos of like talking, and I think it brings you into a zone. But I mean, there's so few things happening, and I think that's what keeps that song special. Is like it's just it allows you to focus on what's being said.
And how difficult is it to create a song, especially in the producer aspect? Like how difficult is it to create a song where like you want the words to be more powerful than the actual music itself?
That's a good question. I think that's become a lot easier in time. I think that when I was younger and I was just coming from the perspective of a drummer, because that's how I started, it was a lot more like, you know, what do I want to say? How do I want this to sound? And now it's like a little bit easier to see it from a bit of a further back perspective and like what it actually needs to be said. Like, and I think that like when starting a song, if there's a vibe in the first couple chords you play and the first couple melodies you sing, the rest of the vision for the song comes like without any, it comes without effort. And if the vibe's not there, then it becomes really challenging.
Yeah, I mean, good songs are easy to produce. Bad songs are like, wait, I know you're there. Good songs are easy to produce. Bad songs are impossible to produce. And like, I think like, I mean, obviously Jake kind of handles the production more, but like, a brilliant producer knows when to not produce. You know, like I think we used to go so hard on like every detail. I mean, we still do, but like. We used to overproduce so much out of like lack of confidence because the songs just weren't good. So we were like, let's just do this cool beat, let's do this. But I think now it's just about getting better and better at writing songs and letting the songs speak. And sometimes a hard, crazy production is necessary.
Yeah.
Often it's not though. I mean, I think if you listen to like the biggest and best songs, the most influential songs ever, it's often like so damn simple.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited for this EP to drop. I can see myself listening to it for like over and over again. So I definitely can't wait for it to come out and like have, you know, all the other ears get to do the same. So congratulations with that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.